Hey everybody, this is Rich Brooks. How you doing out there? I hope you can hear me over the howling wind that is in the background. I am here on behalf of Accelerate America. I wanted to kind of just introduce you. I know you're at the Accelerate America page right now, but if you don't know who they are a group. They are a macro level business accelerator. They're focused on helping small businesses just like mine excel and grow through knowledge and connections. Among other things, they deliver content, programming, and expertise. They were first created to help SMBs, that's small to medium-sized businesses, for you playing at home, in this ever-changing digital economy. It can be tough out there. They aim to make it easier and make these SMBs better. They forge partnerships and build capacity with local organizations that share the SMB growth mission, and they have large national enterprise partners like Dell, QuickBooks, Moo, and Fiverr that you can utilize to get special deals and content. To access all of this, you just need to join, and joining is free. Head on over to accelerateamerica.com/join. That's EXCELERATE, America.com/join, and you'll be able to access all that great information. All right, I'm here not to look pretty in front of you with my glasses. I guess I'm letting out that little dirty little secret that I use cheaters, but rather to share with you some information. So with that, I'm actually going to share my desktop. All right. Here we go. The bare essentials of digital marketing. So today I want to share with you a framework that's going to take some of the mystery and confusion out of digital marketing. A framework that's going to help you develop your own digital marketing strategy. Now that's a strategy that's going to be more effective, take less time to implement, and will be completely measurable. I hope you find this interesting. I know that I find this stuff fascinating. Now I've been doing this for nearly 20 years. It's hard to believe that. Actually, for over 20 years now. And when I first started building websites and doing this marketing stuff, it was a completely different world. First of all, we were designing websites for screen sizes that were 640 by 480, which is smaller than most smartphones these days. We were optimizing them as much as we can because we knew that most of our visitors were on dial-ups. We were optimizing for Alta Vista because there was no Google, there was no Facebook, there wasn't any Snapchat. And when people came to our websites, they weren't expecting audio and video and multimedia. Obviously, a lot has changed in all that time, but a lot of things have stayed the same. If you're tuning in now, you're a small to medium-sized business most likely, and you, like I, need more leads, more sales, more customers to grow and thrive. That hasn't changed. What has changed is the way that we acquire these customers. So much of it has gone online digital. And if you grew up in an age of yellow pages and in an age of traditional ads and media buys, then this may feel like a very different, confusing world. Now, after doing this for 20 years, and after working with over 500 businesses and thousands of different entrepreneurs and talking to them, I've realized that even though every business is unique, and I'm sure yours is too, that there are a lot of similarities when it comes to marketing. And there's a framework that started to emerge that makes this a lot easier to understand. And that's really what I want to share with you today. So, by the way, if you have questions today, please just type them into the message. I've got Emily and Leslie from Accelerate America manning the phone, so to speak, and they're going to either pass along messages to me or we'll try taking them at the end. We'll see. But if I say anything and it doesn't make sense, or you have further questions, please let me know. So what I did is I ended up creating this framework called the Bare Essentials of Digital Marketing. And BARE is an acronym. It's got 4 components to it. The first is build. The B is for build. How to build a platform that turns visitors into customers. The A is for attract. How do we drive qualified traffic to our websites? R is for retain. How do we stay in front of people after they've left our sites? And E is for evaluate. How do we measure and analyze our results so we can continually improve what's going on? So you may be wondering who I am exactly and why you should be listening to me. My name, as I mentioned, is Rich Brooks, and I speak all over the country on topics of social media, digital marketing, entrepreneurship, small business. Been doing that for a long time. I'm also the president of Flight New Media, a web design and internet marketing company located in beautiful Portland, Maine. I'm also the founder of the Agents of Change, which is a weekly podcast and an annual conference that's all about how to reach more of your ideal customers through search, social, and mobile marketing. I'm the tech guru on 207, which is the evening news program on the NBC affiliates here in Maine, where I do hard-hitting news stories on what the best recipe sites are online, as well as how to take better pictures with your smartphone. And then earlier this year, I released my first book, The Lead Machine, the Small Business Guide to Digital Marketing, which is basically everything I've learned in the past 20 years and kind of has the same framework for today's presentation, just obviously goes into detail a lot more. So let's jump into that framework. The first component, as I mentioned, is build. And it's all about how to build a better website, one that's going to take visitors and turn them into leads or customers. And there's a lot that we can talk about in build. And today is really just an overview. But there's a few things that you have to keep in mind, building blocks, if you will, of building an effective, successful website. And the first one is mobile. It needs to be mobile friendly. These days, more than half of the world's internet traffic is delivered to a mobile device. Now, that's not exactly true in America, where so many of us are blessed with computers at work or computers at home. You might think of the word cursed, but blessed, I'll go with blessed. But the bottom line is, as I look at my own Google Analytics and the Google Analytics of my clients, I see higher and higher percentages every year of people coming on a mobile device. So if you want more conversions, your website must be mobile friendly. It's got to be fast. As I mentioned earlier, when I was first building websites, we built them to be as lean as possible because we knew people were coming on dial-up. But as time has gone on, we've kind of gotten a little bit lazy because so many people have broadband. But now that things are shifting over to mobile, and not everybody has a great connection on mobile, again, we need our pages to load fast because people aren't going to stick around for slow loading pages. Speed up your site, improve your conversion rate. We need our site to be nimble. And by that, I mean that you need to be able to make changes on the fly, changes as soon as something new happens, changes to keep Google coming back to your site. And for that, you need a content management system. And my recommendation for content management systems is WordPress. I find it the easiest to learn and understand. It's the world's most popular platform. But it doesn't have to be WordPress. You can have great success on Squarespace or Wix or Joomla. Find something that works for you. And lastly, it needs to be designed for results. And what do I mean by that, designed for results? I mean that you want people to take action at your website. So to improve conversions, a few things you want to keep in mind is if you want the phone to ring, don't bury it at the bottom of your contact page. Put it in the top right or left corner of every single page on your website. Use a contact form. Much better than putting an email address link on your website for a bunch of different reasons. But one of the biggest is that you're now guiding people in terms of telling them what information you need to get back in touch with them, and also helps you speed up some processes. So when you fill out a contact form on our website, for example, that information gets emailed to me, but it also gets saved to our CRM. And if you sign up for our email newsletter as part of filling out our contact form, you're also being automatically added to Constant Contact or MailChimp or whichever one you happen to use. Speaking of email, I'm a huge fan of email. We'll get back to that a little bit later on, but you should be asking people to join your email list. It is the cornerstone of all digital marketing. And lastly, calls to action. You want to include calls to action at the bottom of every single page on your website, telling people what the next logical step is. You may think it's obvious, but they may not. So at the bottom of every page, and possibly a few times within a page, tell them what the next step is. Maybe it's to fill out a contact form or to download something or to use an online calculator, whatever it is, but guide them through this process. Now, after we built our site, we also need to drive traffic to it. And there's a lot of ways to drive traffic to a website, but there's three I want you to focus on from a digital marketing standpoint. SEO, or search engine optimization, social media, and digital ads. So let's talk about SEO, or search engine optimization, for a minute. To oversimplify this, there's three areas you want to keep in mind. The first one is on-page content. In other words, how the words on your web page match up with the search that was just done. The second is off-page. And lastly, technical. So I want to just talk a little bit about some on-page optimization. And that starts with knowing the words that your customers are using, and therefore you need to do some keyword research. Now, it's not as difficult as this guy seems to think it is. One great place to start is with the Google AdWords Keyword Planner. And this is a free tool from Google. You will need to have a Google AdWords account, which is free to set up. But I've discovered that if you start spending money with AdWords, you start getting better data in this report. So it might be worth spending just a few dollars to kind of move you into that paid category so you start getting better results. So, brainstorm around some of the keyword phrases that you might have, and then focus on things like, put in some of those best keywords. So in this example I use healthcare cost, health insurance rates. And then Google takes all of its experience in handling searches and shows me on average, those three things, and then what are the average monthly searches for those terms, because I don't want to optimize my site for something that's not being sought after, the competition if I were to do some paid ads, and even what a suggested bid might be. Now, we're not worried about digital ads right now. We're just focused on SEO. So as I look down the page a little bit further, I also start getting some other keywords that might be good for my page and my website that I haven't thought of, but Google's suggesting based on how they know people search. So this is all good information, and I'm going to take this when I sit down and start creating my content for my website. So this is an example of a website, obviously a web page, and when you're putting together your keywords, what you want to do is put your keywords into critical points on the page. So this is a page all about infusion therapy services. The most important place you can put that is right there in the title tag. Here's a little blow up if you can't read that. Infusion therapy services, and then the name of the company. Another place you want to put your titles. Slides aren't showing. Oh, the slides aren't showing. Well, I'm glad you guys told me that now. I can fix this. Sorry about that, everyone. You know what? If you want, reach out to me, reach out to Accelerate America. I will get you the first few slides. So I'm going to quickly catch up now. Creating content after we know where our keywords go. The first place we want to put them is in the title tag. And so basically blow that up, and you can see right there. I see that they're working now. You can see right there that this is where the title tag goes. I'm putting my keywords in here. I'm also going to put them in the headers and the subheaders, which tend to be the bigger, bolder copy. And then also in the I'm going to put them in the body copy itself. Another place I'm going to want to put them is in the alt tags that you don't see as a site visitor, but are behind the images. And lastly, you want to put them in your meta description. This is usually something you can do on the back end of your website, but if we look here, we can see that the title tag on the search engine results page is the big blue link. The meta description is the gray or black text underneath it. Now, this doesn't actually help too much with your search engine placement, but if you've got a good meta description, you might get more clicks than the people ahead of you, which is actually a sign that you might be moving up in the search results. Now, a lot of SMBs are very geographically challenged, as I like to say, meaning that you need to focus a little bit on your local SEO. I'm sure you've done this. You search for something. In this case, I'm searching for dance studios. And I get 3 local results and then a link that says more places. If I'm looking for a dance studio, and I'm probably looking for something close by, and that's why Google's showing me this map, chances are I'm going to go with one of these 3 choices and not click on more places. So if you want to gain visibility, if you want to get more traffic to your website, you need to make sure that you're optimized for local SEO. Now, that's a whole other presentation, but I will tell you that having your NAP information, your name, address, and phone number consistent throughout your website and all these online sources, that's going to make a big step. Also getting listed in Google My Business. There's a number of more things than that, but those are 2 key things that you want to be able to do. And just a word on paid search as well. Life has changed, and I used to say, why would you pay for leads when you can get them for free through blogging? Well, I've definitely completely changed my opinion on this, in part because blogs are not free. It takes a lot of time and resources to create quality blog posts, but also because Google has gone to a one-column results page with the ads up top, and you can see in this particular search for home inspection that the top 2 results are ads, and Google will actually show up to 4 ads. Very often, between the ads and the local search results, the number 1 search result organically doesn't even show up until you scroll down the page. So if you're doing searches on things that you want to rank well for, and there's 1 through 4 ads at the top of the page, you probably need to be investing some money in paid search in the coming year. Now let's shift gears and talk a little bit about social media. There's a lot of social media websites out there. It can feel overwhelming at times. I like to break it down by putting them into one of 2 different categories: social platforms and social networks. Social platforms are a place where, like a blog or a YouTube video, where we can basically get up on stage and present our information and then get feedback from the crowd. We do this to gain visibility. We do this to be able to tell our story, or perhaps the story of our customers. And we do this to create engagement. Now, there are a lot of platforms out there, and by no means am I saying you should be on all platforms. In fact, I often recommend that if you're just getting into this, you choose one platform and one network to focus on. Rather than going wide, you want to go deep. If you like to write, one of my favorite platforms out there would just be a blog. Blog has a lot of benefits, search engine benefits, benefit that people are already at your website if they're reading your blog, and it's a great way to establish your authority. Video, primarily I'm thinking about YouTube here, although there are other platforms for sure, but also YouTube videos have a lot of SEO value as well. It's also a great place to demonstrate how your product works, or to establish your enthusiasm for your product, service, industry, what have you. It's probably the closest we can get to real life on the web. Podcast. Now, the audience for podcasts are definitely smaller, but I found that podcast listeners are very loyal. And so I often will go to a place, and whether I'm doing a presentation or an expo or a networking event, and people are telling me that they're listening to my podcast, it's what gets them through from the drive from Boston to Buffalo. So podcasts are very powerful, and they allow you to actually literally get inside your customers' heads. Webinars. A lot of people are like, Rich, webinars are definitely not social. Well, they are if you want to do them social. So you can have a webinar where you are constantly doing surveys or taking questions, and that makes them social. And lastly, SlideShare, which is a platform now owned by LinkedIn, which is kind of like YouTube for PowerPoint presentations. So these are all great platforms that allow you to present content, share information, and then get feedback from your audience. Then there's social networking. We're thinking about sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, those sort of things. And for social networking, there's a lot of benefits here as well. They allow us to engage people quickly because there's already an audience there. We're just joining in on the conversation. Within reason and in the right ways, we can promote what we're doing with people. And lastly, we can drive traffic. Now, my experience is we don't drive as much traffic with social networks as we do with, say, SEO, but it is still a way to drive traffic. Now, there are a lot of social platforms out there, but by far the biggest one is Facebook. So with Facebook, this is probably a platform that's better for B2C than B2B, but I'm of the thought that almost everybody needs to have a Facebook page out there. But the question is, how much time and energy do you want to put into it? Because a few years ago, if you posted something to Facebook, 80 to 90% of your fans were going to see it. But these days, you might get lucky if, say, 1 to 3% of your fans see your organic post. So you need to do other things besides just posting things to Facebook as a business. And probably the most important one, the most effective one, is Facebook ads. With Facebook ads, we can reach our ideal customers no matter who they are, no matter where they live, no matter what they look like. Facebook has partnered with a number of other organizations that have an insane information about us and our customers, almost to a scary, perhaps creepy level, But the bottom line, as entrepreneurs, as business people, as marketers, we can use that data to make sure that our message is getting in front of our ideal customers. So whether we're looking to reach yuppie men who like bicycling and are between 35 and 45 and live in New York City, or we're looking to reach women between 45 and 55 who like kickboxing and live by themselves, we can target those people. We can reach almost anybody because Facebook has data on their users. So we can run those ads to show it to those people. Also, if you have an email list, whether it's through an email service provider like Constant Contact, or you've got your own database, you can upload your email list and then tell Facebook, I want to advertise just to my email list, or I want to suppress my ads from my email list and show them to other people. Depends on what your goals are. And you can also create lookalike audiences. So once you've got your email list up there, you might say, hey, Facebook, I want to get in front of people like these people. Can you find those people for me? And then Facebook will go out and find those people for you. So Facebook ads are still pretty cost effective and they're highly targeted. Now, unlike search ads, they're not search ads are when somebody is actively looking for something. Social ads are more about getting in front of somebody who you know what they're like. So think about how you might want to reach people. Is it when they're actively searching for your product or service, or just because you know who they are? And that might drive whether you want to spend more energy and money on Facebook ads versus Google ads. Besides Facebook, then there's every other platform out there. So you've got Twitter, and you've got LinkedIn, and you've got Pinterest, and you've got Instagram, and then you've got some custom ones as well, like Houzz and some industry-specific ones. We don't have time to get into every one, so let me just say the 3 golden rules for almost every other social media platform. Follow your audience. If your audience isn't on a platform, even if you love it, ignore it. Focus on where your customers are already hanging out. Engage with them there, and not in a fake and phony way. Engage with them, talk to them, answer their questions, whatever it takes. And lastly, advertise there. They're there, they're checking things out. Each one of these platforms has its own advertising platform. Utilize it. Now, let's shift over to retain. Retain is all about staying in touch with somebody after they've left your website. Sounds magical, right? Because a lot of times people are going to come to our website, they're going to poke around, but then they're going to go and check out 4 or 5 of our competitors. We can't just hope that they're going to come back. We have to get them to give us some information so we can stay in touch with them. And here are 2 good ones. In fact, the best one is email marketing. Now, we've all seen those articles about email marketing is dead, email is for old people. They're not true. In fact, I would argue the opposite is true. Email marketing is definitely the cornerstone of any good digital marketing campaign. Every small and medium-sized business should be focused on their email marketing, building their list, and delivering valuable content to their customers. I know this from personal experience, from Flight, from working with clients, from our Agents of Change conference. No matter what I say in social, all I'm doing is building awareness. When I want to actually sell a ticket, that comes from email. And when we look at our where we got our ticket sales from, email is always number 1 and advertising is usually number 2. So those are just things to keep in mind. Email is all about making the sale. Also, when you get somebody to opt into your email newsletter, you are getting access to the most valuable piece of content on the internet, your customer's inbox. So the first question is, well, how do we build our list? Because obviously we want to reach more people. And I will just say a little caveat that, yes, the size of your list is important, but the quality of your list is even more important. So better to have a small list of engaged people than a huge list of people who are ignoring you. There's a lot of ways to build your list, and I'm going to focus on some ones that are very website specific. There's the annoying but oh so effective light box or pop-up box like the kind you see right here. As long as the message is on target, I am seeing a reduction in the effectiveness of this, but I think that's because we've started to become blind to these boxes. As soon as they pop up, we close them. So what I might recommend instead is use this, but don't have it pop up right away. Maybe you have it pop up after 30 seconds or after a minute, or somebody's gone down the page about a third of the way. That's when you want to have that pop-up box. Because right now, you might not even know this company and they're already saying, give me your email address. Like, no, slow down. Like, let's just have a conversation here. Sticky footers or headers that ask for your email addresses for free updates can be very effective as well. I wouldn't have thought this one was effective, but when we looked at our stats, this was the most effective way that we had to get people to sign up for our email newsletter. Also, having your blog content can be your email newsletter content as well. So right at the top of your blog, having strong calls to action to get people to sign up. And here are a few tricks that can work for you as well. We tell people that, hey, there's over 11,000 other marketers who are on our email list. They probably know something. If they're getting value, so will you. Then we specifically tell them what to expect from our email newsletter. We've got this great bold quote here from a well-known person in our industry. And then we've got this giant, easy to click on red button that starts the process of getting you onto our email list. All these things make it a lot easier for people to join our list. And then within different blog posts, we might have what's called a value add. So in this case, people might be reading the article, Does Your SEO Suck? A 13-point checklist. And right at the top, we've got a button that says, don't have time to read this? Download our SEO checklist now. That asks them to give you the email address, and then they're on your email list and they get the SEO checklist. Building your list is only part of it. You also want to get your emails open, read, and acted upon. Have a subject line that's not October newsletter. Nobody wants to read your October newsletter. Instead, either give them a very good reason why they should open your email, or focus instead on some piece of information that's going to get them to be interested, like maybe there's a mystery behind it. Make sure that you're using a consistent person who it's from. Some people like to use people. Some people like to use companies. It all depends on your business and what's more well-known, your personal name or your company. It needs to be mobile friendly these days. Reading email is like one of the #1 activities on a phone. If it's not mobile friendly, they just hit delete. And have a clear call to action. Emails are not about really long diatribes anymore. It's about getting people out of their inbox and over to your website or landing page. Now, if you can't get somebody to sign up for your email newsletter, another good option is getting them or dropping a cookie on them so you can retarget them. So as they leave your website and go to Facebook or Fox News or CNBC or wherever they're going next, and wherever they're going for the next week or month or however long you want to set this for, you can continue to advertise to them. We've had very good success rates with retargeting in terms of a good return on investment. And just to wrap this up, the last E, the only E, is for evaluate. And this is all about kind of taking a look at what you've been doing and what the results were so you can continually improve this. So the #1 tool that every small business needs to have is Google Analytics. And let me just say, it's not enough to have Google Analytics. You actually have to go to your Google Analytics and take a look at what's going on your website so that you see what's working and what's not working. When you're ready to take it a step further, there are tools out there that give you heat maps and scroll maps to show where people are clicking on your pages, how far down the page they're scrolling. These two are from a tool called Crazy Egg. And there's plenty of more metrics that you can look at too if you want to dig deeper and get better understanding of what's working. Facebook has its own insights. Twitter has analytics. And then, of course, your email service provider will also give you a lot more information about open rates and click-through rates and a whole lot more. The takeaways for today is just that this digital marketing thing is something that you can do, whether by yourself or with help from somebody else. And if you focus on these 4 core elements, build, attract, retain, and evaluate, you're going to see success. All right, that's my overview of the framework of the bare essentials for digital marketing. I want to thank everybody. Apologies for not getting those slides running right from the beginning. First time I've done a Facebook Live webinar, so there you go. There's always going to be a few mistakes. Before we sign off for today, and I'm not sure if people are, I do see a couple questions coming in, so let me just kind of check this out for a second. I do want to say that if you want to learn more from Accelerate America, if you want to join for free, get a lot of the benefits I mentioned at the beginning, head on over to accelerateamerica.com/join, and that's at EXCELERATE, accelerate, america.com/join. Definitely you want to check that out, and I'll try putting that into the show notes as well. And I see that I've got a question. What would you suggest as a budget to get started with spending ad money on Google? How much is enough? So I'll give you first the ad agency answer, $1,500 a month. And the reason why ad agencies, and basically I'm a digital agency, so I fall into the same category, the reason why they give you that number is because they need enough to play around with. So if somebody else is doing it for you, $1,500 is usually a good starting point. They might move it up, they might move it down, depending on how competitive your industry is or anything like that. Now, if you're doing it yourself, you can start for as little as $5 or $10, and you're also going to save management fees. But of course, there's a reason why there are companies out there that are managing ad campaigns for businesses, because they usually get better results out of those, and so you're going to be spending your money on their expertise to get you better results. Again, one of the things that I say to everybody is focus on what you do best, outsource the rest. There are a lot of things that I am not good at. In fact, that list is a lot longer than the things I am good at. I try and get rid of everything I'm not good at, either by delegating it to another staff member or hiring an outside firm to help us with it so I can focus on what I do best. What's an example of a company or business that's implemented some of these things, and how did they change / improve with them? Well, I have a lot of companies. I haven't necessarily gotten permission from anyone to talk to name people specifically, but I mean, I've definitely seen when people update their website and focus on making it mobile friendly and conversions, focus on conversions. I know the other day I just got an email from somebody that said ever since we had revamped their website, they had a 32% improvement on their conversion rates. That was an e-commerce store, so that was kind of cool to hear as well. But I think any business who implements just a few of these things are going to start to see improvements. And what I put the focus on is what's best for you. So, for example, a natural food company that we work with, natural food store, they're going to spend a lot of their time and energy on platforms like Facebook and Instagram and building their email list. Where I've also talked with somebody who does coaching for career counselors. Those are not going to be the same tools. Like for him, we're working on search engine optimization to drive more traffic to the website, content creation, and then also for him, it's still about building his email list so he can sell online courses. I think I don't see any other questions today. If you are tuning into this live or afterwards, just leave a comment here in the questions. I will be happy to send over my slides. And unless we've got any more questions, I'm going to thank you for your time, everybody. Have a great day. And don't forget to head on over to Accelerate America. I'm going to type the address in right now. I hope I'm typing right. AccelerateAmerica.join. So that's there. Just put that right in there, and you can click on that link or copy and paste it. Head on over there. Join Accelerate America. They've got more great content coming up. Hey, if you want to check me out, you can head on over to, I guess I'll just type all these things in. You can head on over to takeflight.com, or if you like podcasts, you should check out my podcast at theagentsofchange.com. All right. That's all the self-promotion you get today. Have a great day, everybody. And if you've got any more questions, I'm easy enough to find online. I'm B. Rich Brooks everywhere, and I'm happy to answer your questions. Thanks, and have a great day.